Hey, it's John from Sixth Place Off-Road. Today I'm going to show you around my 2007 Ram 1500. So I've had this truck for about 4 years now. I've done a few things to it, but nowhere near as much as I want to do to it. I bought it at 200,000 I'm at about 255 now. It's running great. Everything that I've had to do is classic stuff. I did a water pump recently, 250,000 kilometers, makes sense. A couple things I've done to the truck so far though is I have leveled it, so I went 2.5 inches in the front and 1.5 inches in the rear. I did put in a backup camera. One of the cool things I did with that reverse camera was instead of running it to the reverse lights, I run it to the running lights. That way I can see what's behind me. Because right now I do have ski racks and a bike rack on there, but in the summer I generally have a tent, which means I can't see anything out of the back of the cab. So when I have bikes on the back or if I'm pulling the boat, I can literally just hit that button and see that everything back there is still where I want it to be. So one thing you'll learn about me very quickly is that I hate chrome. This truck already with the running boards, I hate those. I hate the chrome. Those will be going away. The front and rear bumper are chrome. I did plasti dip them because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with them, whether it was putting new bumpers on, whether it was stripping them completely and Raptor linering them. So I just plasti dipped them. You can tell it's peeling off, but that's 4 years old. So that's going to all come off this summer. The rear, I've already pulled the black off, so it's back to chrome, which as we all know, I detest, but that will be going away. The other things I did was the grill. As you can see, everything's quite dirty right now. Driving up to the cabin, it's just a messy winter road. But this is all blacked out as well. It was all chrome. It had the vent visor on as well. I got rid of that, blacked it out. So on the light front, what we've done is I do have a 46-inch light bar behind the grill that will be getting upgraded. It was honestly a takeoff from a customer's vehicle who said just throw it in the garbage, and I decided to throw it into my truck instead. What I had before was this small 20-inch. This bar has been really good to me, but it's time to go. If I'm staying with this bumper, I will be putting my recovery points on, which are actually sitting in my garage, which is a very useful place for your recovery points. Next down here, these are the Vivid Lumen fog lights. Again, you can see all my peeling here. What I did with these though is I did keep the factory bezel here. Number one reason is if I was to cut these, it would look terrible. The second, you can get a replacement. They're not very expensive, but this does add a lot of protection as those are not cheap lights, and I get a ton of light through them even with the grill there. And then up in the headlights, I am running the CLD LED bulbs. Huge upgrade. The one thing with LED bulbs though is you are putting them into a housing that is not designed for LEDs. It's never going to be as good of a spray as you could get. In fact, it is more of a spray instead of a focused light. So those at some point I would like to upgrade possibly to Alpha Rex. There's a few other companies I like out there, but I've installed Alpha Rex in a few other trucks and they're fantastic. So for wheels and tires at the moment, I'm running, these are factory 20-inch rims, and these are the Arctic Cloth winter tires that are studded. I'm a firm believer in studded tires. I don't think they're necessary for everyone, but I spent a lot of my life in two-wheel drive vehicles and it made a massive difference. So when I went to my four-wheel drive, I said, why not? I run up to the ski hills quite a bit and out to a family cabin. Roads get dicey. I'm traveling at night a lot before they've been plowed. So I'd like the studs. I just feel a little bit safer with them. I always recommend a full winter tire for anyone who lives in a winter environment. The differences over an all season or an all weather are astronomical. They're 100% worth it. My summers are actually technically a winter rated as well. They do have the 3 peak on them, but I don't like them as much for winters. They're not studded. They are siped a bit more. So when it comes to the off-road traction, they're fantastic, but on-road in the colder weather, they don't do as well. So I do run a full winter. Next on my truck is the box. Currently, I'm running the Elevate rails. So this is actually a rail system that goes on, and they do have tall adjustable towers. As I don't really want to be that tall, I'm going with these, just the tracks here, keeping them low, and then I'm running Yakima towers with their HD bars on top. So in the summer, I've got tents up here or kayaks, because my kayaks are only 8 feet, so they do only hang over 2 feet, which fits all right. Ski racks here, skis and lock them. Then on the other side across there, I do have the Yakima front loader, so that's bike rack, holds it by the front wheel. They've had that style for quite a long time. I really, really like that. Next, in the middle, is my tonneau cover. Now this is just a soft tonneau. It does have a couple of bars in it, but what it does mostly is just keeps the weather out. They're not the most secure, but they do keep weather out, which is important right now. I do have a lot of plans for the back here as well. I am planning on upgrading this tonneau to something hard that locks. that'll have a track as well, and then I'm either going to go with the same system, build my own, or possibly the Lightner racks. We'll just see what kind of makes sense at the time. I have designed the rack for the back of this. I've been changing it for the last 3 years, so it'll probably never get built. So in the back, I'm running upgraded lights as well. Down here, I'm running the CLD reverse lights. Great thing with these guys is they're putting out about 3,000 lumens. So when I flip it into reverse, it is daylight behind me for sketchy trails, even just at night into your own parking spots. Very, very nice upgrade. And as well on the cab for the cargo light, those are upgraded CLD bulbs as well. Night and day difference. We'll have to show you guys a shot at night to be able to see how much brighter these really are. All right, so in the cab, I do have a few upgrades as well. As you can see, I do have an upgraded double din. This is nothing special, but it does the trick. It allows me to run a reverse camera as well as videos if I wanted to. Not, it's something that really anyone actually uses. Next here is I did install some heated seats. This was not a crazy install, but it did take some time. I think it took about 2 evenings because I did have to rip the seats completely out of the truck, unupholster, put the elements in, then reupholster, put it back in. Not challenging, but time consuming. Totally worth it though. Asked my wife, I did her vehicle as well, and I'm about to do my sister's, and it's a cheap install. It really upgrades an older vehicle. Next to that is this switch here. So this is a 3-stage rocker. This guy actually runs that light bar I was showing you in the front. That's on, so that's gonna be the lights on full blast, off. And then when I've got it in this lower setting, I actually have it tapped into the high beam on the headlight. So when I turn the high beams on and off, it turns on and off with them. So when I'm on roads that are a little more secluded, I'm not gonna come across too many people, but I am gonna come across people. I put into that setting. That way, I'm not reaching around trying to hit my brights off, hit this light off. It's just too hectic. So that's a great way to do it. On the Rams, it is a little more difficult, so you do have to tap into that wire. It's also the same wire they use for the daytime running lights, so it has its complications. But on a lot of trucks, you can actually just put a fuse tap straight into the high beam fuse. So I'll put a link below as well for the switches I use for that. I have one more switch, but it's on the other side of the vehicle here, so we'll get outside and we'll show you that. So the last switch I have in here is that fog light switch. This truck does not have factory fog lights. If it did, this would just be a push. I do have that housing, and I have been toying with the idea of running it with that proper one. Just haven't got around to it. But this switch here, great little spot. The nice thing too is I often forget this on, so I can simply open the truck door and pop it off. My knee doesn't hit it too often, so it's a nice spot there. This is actually where your pedal adjuster would be if it had that feature. Right, so in the rear here, number one thing I've got back here is my fire extinguisher. This is just held on with a couple straps. Pops out there. I believe everyone should have one for yourself, for someone else. Things happen, plus we're in BC, and forest fires are an issue. I'm not gonna be able to fight much with that, but maybe if something's smoldering, at least I can get at it. Back here, this seat here is very rarely used. As you can tell from the other one, it's disgusting. It's because we generally have 2 dogs back there that make a mess. So we've got that cover on, and I pull that off and clean it when I can. My plan with this is actually to delete this 3rd seat, giving me a lot more room here and building in a storage unit where I can have, I've toyed with the idea of a fridge. I may not put the fridge inside here, but if I can have my recovery gear, my safety gear, and then possibly MOLLE panels up here, that's where the fire extinguisher would be, which would make it even easier to grab. Yeah, so that's my plan for the back here. We'll see what happens with that. Getting rid of a seat is always a tough decision because it's a seat. It's where you can actually have someone in the truck. But as it's just my wife, myself, and the dog, I think we'll be okay. So one of the main things with this truck I do need to address soon is this cancerous rust that's coming up here. So I've got it on the box. That's pretty common. Also down here. To be honest, when I bought this truck, it had a fresh paint job and it was done terribly. If that dealer still existed, they would definitely be getting a conversation with me because the clear coat started peeling within I bought it in the fall, and by spring the clear coat was peeling the bottom here. So I do need to repair that. I do have a little bit I'll show you in here. This is going to be the bigger project, which is this rocker panel here. So this I will possibly have to cut and weld in a new rocker panel. Being a journeyman welder, it shouldn't be too hard. It's just going to be very time consuming and probably a bit frustrating. What I'm going to do once I have the rust repaired, I'm actually going to Raptor liner the lower part of this truck. Number one reason, A, it's protection. It's a lot tougher. B, I'm not a body man. I promise you I'm a very good welder and fabricator, but body work is its own art form. So because I'm going to use Raptor liner, which is bed liner, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect because it is a textured surface. So I don't have to have that perfect line. All right, so next is the box of the truck. Now I do use this truck a lot. I use it for obviously off-road adventures, but I also use it for things like bringing dirt, soil, rocks to the yard, things like that. So it does need to be functional for me. I would love to have full slide outs in here, and I have in the past. Last winter I actually had a full slide out for my barbecue, so at the ski hill, pull it out, cook the food, slide it back in. It was great. I left it out this year just because I was doing too much work with the truck. A couple other things I am going to address back here though is I am going to do something with that barbecue. I'm thinking possibly a swing out, so it tucks in the side, still usable, but it is something that's going to have to be able to come out really quickly. So these boxes over here have my barbecue utensils, plates, all of that stuff, and then also some emergency gear, things like fire starter, hatchet, things that you would use camping, or if you're stuck out somewhere. Always a bag of straps. These often go in the cab, but for now, we came out to the cabin. We have the 2 dogs with us, so we have no space in the cab. So straps, very, very important. It blows my mind the number of people who own trucks and have no straps. You have a giant box and no straps. You can't hold anything down. Buy some straps. If you're in Canada, go to Canadian Tire. They put them on sale for like 15 bucks for a set of 4. Or, anywhere. Princess Auto, wherever you need them. Always carry straps. Next in here, I have shovels. This is a spade, and then I also have a winter shovel there because it's winter, and generally if I'm getting stuck in winter, it's snow, not mud, so you just needed to move that. Luckily, haven't had to use that in a long time, but they're there just in case. And then of course you're in Canada, so you have a scraper and a brush. And then on this side, I do have oil. Truck doesn't really burn oil, well, why not? You have the space for it. This way, if you haven't checked it in a while, you check it, you're a bit low, good to go. I did just do the water pump, so I do have coolant back here just in case levels aren't where they need to be. And then of course some more storage in here. And that's the back. This will be getting a huge upgrade. Again, another thing I despise is these plastic drop-in liners. They're garbage, they move around. I just don't like them. Those will come out when I redo the tonneau or rack setup, because that's basically everything has to come off to pull those out. So I'll wait till then to pull this out, and then I'll probably actually Raptor liner the inside of the box as well. So that's my 07 Ram 1500. It is a 5.7 liter. I don't know if I mentioned that, but those are the upgrades I'm going to do to it, or I have planned for it. If there's anything you think I should do, shouldn't do, let me know. I'm always open to other ideas. I manage a rack shop, so a lot of this stuff I do have access to, and it gives me a lot of ideas. I'm always looking for more, so definitely drop a comment below if there's something I should do, something I shouldn't do, something you've seen that's terribly wrong. I don't mind. I'm always looking to learn more as well, so just let me know. I'm John. This is Sixth Place Off-Road. Thanks for coming through.